Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm trying out this new uh, theme of events that is happening. Welcome to Tattoo Your Wellbeing. I am your host on our new podcast station of Anchor and Riverside FM and all other platforms that this podcast will be aired on. I am excited because we have Spotify, we have YouTube. We have um, Apple for those who use Apple. So anywhere that is suits you to be definitely engaged with our broadcast. I welcome you. I welcome you fully, and I do um, say that this is an improv because I wanted to see how everything was going to work on launching. So this is like a pre-run, and I just welcome you all with um, on the show, what to expect, what are we looking for you all to gain from attending and being attentive to this podcast. One thing I would like to share, um, I'm going to be moving around. So while I'm moving around, I'm learning how to get my personal studio together before airing. But knowing that I have all these ins and outs that I must learn and attend to and be attentive at the same time because I have a lot of things going at the same time. So I am learning, relearning how to multitask my podcast because it has been a while since I have reintroduced myself in this space. But once again, nonetheless, I am your host, Atara Estes. And I do not lose um, sight of what I am doing because there's a lot going on. So, like I said, this is an improv to what is actually happening, what is really going on, what can you expect from this broadcast. And I have to say, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of things taking place in this upcoming year. Happy New Year to you. And if I can, let me pause and start again because I don't want to come off like I'm not ready for none of this. But I don't think I am. I think I'm doing this off the hip because it has come to my attention the more that I hold off in trying to do the podcast, the more I feel like I am going to put it off for trying to be a perfectionist. So let's see if I can start this again. So, can we do this from the beginning? Let me see if I can uh, start this again. Just bear with me. Yes. Welcome, 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 welcome. See, I like that introduction. I am cheering. That's what I'm saying. That's my get hype uh, in this arena. I so let's see if we can maneuver through some things and get you all in the space of. I want to switch out, and if I could actually have my glasses on, because there's a lot of content that I really need to address. So let's see. because I want to be able to see you all. I don't want to look off to the side screen in order to do that. Oh, there we are. There we are. Yeah. So now that I've put my screens into play, hopefully it's better quality from what I was initially um, attempting to do. It looks like it started over in the recording. So let me say welcome to Tattoo Your Wellbeing. I am the host and author, Atara Estes. I authored the published book that is on Amazon uh, of Tattoo Your Wellbeing is coming from Damaged Goods, My Journey, which is a real story, which is a real true story. Let me stop saying a real story. A real um, crime story that I survived almost 21 years ago, which will be approaching this year on September 13th, 2002. If you have not um, purchased the book or downloaded the ebook, it's on paperback and it's on ebook on Amazon.com. Please go to um, the website, Amazon.com. I was trying to see if I had the book right here with me. I did, but for some reason, I have no book close by. So, since I don't have the book, I can't show you all in this setting. But then, yes, I can. Hold that. I have it. I have it. There's no way that I'm going to do that. So, see, we're going to get through these differences. And this is the book for those who are able to view it on the screen. It is Damaged Goods, My Journey, um, written by me. I had a ghostwriter to help me write it, but this is a true story of my survival. It is still one of the most impactful stories that I had to write about myself on a journey of surviving being blindfolded, shot in the back, thrown in the trunk, and left for dead, and the emotional damage that I died in that space, even though I did not die physically, I died in that space. And it is really one of those, excuse me, sinus issues right now, but it is really something that is not easily to get over. And I wouldn't expect anyone to overcome a tragic ordeal like this suddenly, even after 21 years of or approaching 21 years, it's still some hiccups, some roller coaster of things because I experienced so much depression, post traumatic stress disorders, a lot of anxiety surfaced after this ordeal. And one, it was due to domestic violence, but overall it was a dating violence situation. And I took the liberty because I had my daughter, and have two daughters. And when the incident happened, I only had the one daughter. And later down the line, I got involved with someone else after that ordeal, that shooting ordeal, and I had another child. And I still wasn't over the trauma that happened previous, but trying to move on and move forward may not be best suited for you. So it's almost wondering what's best. So I said all that to say um, I am not going to um, sugarcoat anything on this podcast due to the fact of one I want to say, I want to be mindful to warn any and all listeners and viewers that may take in to listen in on this podcast or see the actual video take place to know whether or not the following video or this podcast of topics may be harmful and be traumatizing to someone. So I want to be very mindful to not do that. I do not want to re traumatize anyone, but what I want to do in this podcast and in my whole journey of my life is to raise awareness. And I would love to have this platform to be a space for true crime survivors to be able to have a platform to share out some of their obstacles, but not just the hardship, but how the resilience of it really allows you to be able to handle it and to move forward so others can know how and where other support groups are. So we're going to broaden that platform for victims, survivors of domestic violence, dating violence, any form of trauma. I am trying to let you know now that this network is targeting women. This network is targeting young adults. Um, and the youth is walking into this world to learn how to date healthy, but not dating healthy. So, what does that look like? To turn the narrative around from what was supposed to be bad to turn it around for the good is the aim of this podcast. It will not downplay. It will not continue to. It will not point fingers. It will not put too much spotlight on the perpetrators on this podcast. My purpose of actually creating and building out this podcast is to empower us, the survivors of domestic violence and dating violence. There are those victims who still walk in silence, and that's understandable. And there are those who are advocates like myself who wants to see change and has a purpose, a deeper purpose of finding ways to eliminate the homicide, the victims that are being created and targeted. We actually have work to do. And needless to say, I've come from a long way of healing on that, going through therapy, going through alternative practices, holistic wellness, um, coaching. Um, I will be introducing a lot of amazing people who have contributed on to my journey to help me to be well where I am today and giving you some self improvement tips, self care tips, self love tips. And that's what we're going to target about how can we be a better version of ourselves in spite of any adversity, but mainly the trauma that some of us, like myself, have gone through and still trying to find some sense of hope and resilience to still move forward and to live a well balanced life. That is my goal for this podcast. If I haven't really made it to make sense, but I'm a motivational speaker as well. I'm a community health worker, an instructor, and a consultant of the community health workers workforce. Um, So I come with expertise as well as experience, which is what got me into this work. And I would love to be able to share on this journey on different tips and ways and really get you to think. This is not a podcast to just throw out information, but there are questions that's going to be pre-done. So when you get ready to come on to listen to the show, you would have asked those questions prior and see some of the coping options that you could possibly apply to yourself. But not only in that manner, but you will get a chance to, even after, to leave a comment to the content that was published on that show of whichever episode that you would like to have questions. I would love to hear from you. I would actually love for you all to follow my podcast, help me grow my audience. I am on Spotify, like I said before. I am on Apple Podcasts. I am also on Instagram as Atara Estes. You can also find Tattoo Your Wellbeing if you type it in the search box, but tattoo is not spelled like the tattoo that you get done inked on you, but tattoo is Tatu, Your Wellbeing. And tattoo is my name. Tattoo is my nickname that was given to me. But tattoo is for this podcast that was created was actually allowing me to show others that they are tattoo as well. Tattoo acronyms stands for Thriving After Trauma Unashamed. And that's what we're going to do on this podcast. We're going to highlight all of the warriors and those who have fallen, who did not make it. We're going to spotlight and highlight and celebrate. And we're going to raise awareness. We're going to do some advocacy on this podcast. We're going to hopefully create some policies that can go. I live in St. Louis, so St. Louis is dealing with a lot of different adversities when it comes to the crime in our areas, and many other cities and states are going through their own dilemmas as well. But however, this is one of those platforms that I see fit that could help in a mighty way, and I just want to see how far can I actually take this. So I just wanted to give you all just a sneak peek of what we're going to be doing. It's going to be aired. My goal is to be consistent in airing out content every week and getting you all to have things to think about. You know, we're going to actually, let me put my glasses back on so I can talk about some things that I would love for us to touch on. And one of them is, or maybe I need to take my glasses back off. Eh, We have a series program. Well, we have a series that's going to be on here that I get a chance to read some of my books that I'm pre-writing to see how you all respond, and they still deal with self-improvement. I will be reading some of my articles that are written, and today is no different because by the time I get done giving you all the update of why we are on this podcast and what you can expect from this podcast, and hopefully you will add others to be attentive to join in on this podcast and be a guest on the podcast. It won't be for this month. This month is already full with a lot of um, things that are taking place. Actually, I'm in the works of a different project that is based off of my book. So I have some projects that I need to complete in that area. So stay tuned to what is happening. But please, if you have not read Damaged Goods, My Journey, please get a head start because what is about to take place will be the connector. And if you don't, trust me, you're gonna you're gonna be able to understand and follow the flow. But it is to support and understand that any any financial support that you may purchase with this book or any other books, parts of the proceeds do go towards victims of domestic violence. I am an ambassador. I will always want to help restore the lives of those victims who have lost financially, because it is very difficult to restart your lives when you have to uproot and move. So I want to be able to be in a giving space to be able to help women with children to actually reestablish their lives when it's been disrupted due to domestic violence, and the different shelters that I do have, that I go to. It is one that is dear to my heart, and I will share that in the upcoming episodes. But for right now, just know that anything and everything that may um, come up as a purchase um, through Tattoo Your Wellbeing, parts of those proceeds will go towards victims of domestic violence. All of that money is not to just take care of the financial things of my business, but it is also parts of the proceeds to go towards helping helping someone else. I've been blessed to overcome quite a few things, but this one right here is one that I know that is missing and could use a little bit more help in financially. But it's not just finances. Our volunteer aspects could help um, our women's shelter, donating goods, supplies to the women's shelters would be a good way. So I'm going to have some things that I rally around and would love to get the support of you all to join in. But nonetheless, it's time. It's time in 2023. This is a whole new year. I'm happy to be here in the land of the living and to be able to share with all of you this new launch of this podcast and of the business that has already been in existence for about a year now. But really, I'm stepping forth to be consistent so you all can know that I am here, and I am here to captivate. I'm here to enrich, empower. That start with enable. I want to enable you to be able to do what you need to do. I want to empower you with my words of experience and passion. I want to be able to engage with you, to be able to let others know that it's not just me, but there's shared stories like mine that could really set this platform on a whole different level. So the people that I do have, that I know personally, that's going to be joining us as a special guest is going to be just as passionate and caring as I am, and would love to just pour into this audience that I'm building out on. So just get ready. Please just know this is an improv. This is not my going to be my usual go off the hip. I do have structure to a podcast, but I figured commit let me commit to putting this out here, since I committed to advertise that it is coming and it's going to be published at 6 o'clock on the air. And this is for you. This is for me. This is for us. This is where we need to be, in a whole different space and emotionally healing. And let me see if I have any other updates that I need some tattoo announcements. Tattoo announcements. What else? Outside of the project that I'm working on about the book, um, I have a TV project coming up and some other things that are pending. I have some merchandise that would be on the way, that you will be able to find on my website, um, Atara Estes, Wix, wixsite.com. Um, it will becoming. I have programs that will be launched later in the year that I'm preparing to give more educational aspects of coaching, not just reading certain things off of the podcast. I will be reading my books for those who need that audible type of learning. Um, some people can just read the literature and they will absorb it that way, and some people have to listen, and some people have to watch. So I'm creating all avenues of opportunity so that you can connect to the impact and the change that I may have had to go through, that you may see yourself having to go through. But my whole connection of doing my book again. This book was published in 2014. We are in 23. There's still too many victims dying to domestic violence in this capacity of how I was almost no longer here. So I want to share that when I was working on the project that I will be announcing in probably the next episode of what's to come, um, it really did something to me emotionally. It made me see certain things in relationships that I did stay away from. Um, After all these years, how can I have a healthy relationship with not just my intimate partner, but with family, friends, coworkers? It's a lot of dynamics, and I don't think we give ourselves permission to feel those different sensories that seem to be wanting to fight, flight, or freeze when you've come from a traumatic experience like that. But we going to move on and we're going to be well. And what I want to share with you is the emotional healing for the hurting heart. And I want to read it as such. Isn't it true that your emotions really take a knock when your heart is aching? When I was reading each chapter of my book, I read the hurt. I really did. I was I was in a lot of pain when I written that, and I still feel the overwhelming sensation of how it made me feel from that day that I was shot and left for dead. Sometimes it feels like the day of healing is a million miles away. It's been a minute, so I'm really trying to say the difficult time you encountered in the past can take a while to be purged from your system. So give yourself grace. It's not going to be overnight, and I'm telling you that from what I know and not from what I heard. It's definitely healthy to experience a range of emotions. It's okay. However, it's unwise to have the negative ones consume your existence. I'm talking to myself. You're better off working towards hurting of you're better off healing that hurt when you can address it. That way you can start to experience joy and happiness again. That is your goal, that you can experience joy and happiness again. Emotional healing is possible if you work at repairing the source of the hurt. As you'll see, that may mean taking some tough decisions. One, remove negative influences from your life. Non-negotiable. If you're honest with yourself, that is. You'll realize something important. Some of the negative influence may very well be the people closest to you. It's going to be a challenge separating from them, but your emotional health is more important than maintaining those relationships. Are any of your friends guilty of adding fuel to the fire? Can you identify times when they've encouraged you to avoid forgiving someone who offended you? You can very quickly identify people whose advice is riddled with negativity. Avoid allowing the years of friendships to cloud your judgment. You can almost guarantee continued misery if you keep them in your life. 2, accept your responsibility for your actions. It's pretty hard to look in the mirror. Come on, is it hard? Sure it is. Deep down, you know your actions resulted in the hurt you feel. But it's difficult to accept the part you played. It's called accountability. I didn't say in addressing about my survivor story that it was my fault for the shooting, but I hold myself accountable for in that situation when you think back, were there signs and I just did not follow that discernment of what I was seeing because I wanted to hope for something so much different? Does that make me so wrong? Hmm. Confront your wrongdoing. Be courageous enough to accept responsibility for your actions. Inner peace can elude you if you try to cover up the role you played. So the sooner you do what you need to do, the quicker you can heal. Inner turmoil can feel just as unbearable as physical discomfort. In the same breath, be willing to forgive yourself so you can move on to better days ahead. Number 3, live according to your moral compass. You likely have a set of morals to live by. And while you know they exist, you may sometimes avoid them when making decisions. Abandoning morals is the easiest way to make missteps in life. Go back to your roots, take a hard look at what really matters to you, start to embrace those morals one by one. Start to repair how you approach your situations. If making a decision means abandoning your moral compass, take another route. Just like any other compass, your moral compass keeps you on track. It's the best way to avoid getting lost in the area of emotional decision making. Number 4, you might hear sirens in the background, but just know it's going to calm down eventually. Give me a second, because I can't stop it, because they're coming through. So forgive the background noise. Number 4, commit to daily renewal. The road to emotional healing is long and winding. It's something that usually takes quite a bit of time to achieve, but it can be done. All you need to do is recommit to the cause every morning when you wake up. Do something different. Daily renewal is the best way to turn your healing into habit. When you go for the days without that renewal, it's easy to slip back into that heartache. So this is going to take practice. Be fair to yourself. Remember you deserve the healing. And at the end of each positive day, celebrate your progress. Okay? Congratulate yourself to completing one more day of healing and positive living. You'll find you rest more soundly at night. And achieving emotional healing isn't an automatic process, okay? It takes time and a lot of attention. Now is the time to really take care of yourself. Focus on what you need and block out the noise around you. Use these tips to help you and on your healing journey. And just going back to one of the things that we're going to be doing on this podcast, we're going to walk through some of those practices. I'm going to take you on that journey to see for those who want to be um, loving themselves in the most healthiest way so you can be the best version of yourself. This is where the practice begins. We will be discussing it on our podcast on Tatu Your Wellbeing, and we will begin to implement the program for those who are interested and going a little bit deeper with that process of practice. Because everything cannot be done on the podcast, everything cannot be done on YouTube. And when I give those programs and those courses for you to apply, we can do it together. This helps you have an accountability buddy, which what I will become as your coach in these segments that I'm developing for you. This is something that I have been doing in my professional life and would like to now transition it into in my own personal business. It is one that has been elevating me on a whole nother platform of self-care. And I wanted to make sure as a community health worker that I learned to keep that work-life balance together for myself as I continue to walk in my lived experience. Dealing with trauma is not easy. And the complex trauma that I have gone through is one that I have to stay consistent in defeating the the adversities coming back or that story replaying so um, vividly that it seems like it is repeating itself. So in this time that we will have a lot to do. I'm here to instruct. Like I said, I'm going to be educating you. I'm going to be empowering you. I'm going to be very much engaged. I'm going to be elevating some things that needs to be talked about. But if you are ready, this is not to turn you away if you're not. This program that and this podcast is for those who are listening to possibly find a way and wanting to step in to learn how to continue the way. So if this is for you, follow us. Follow Tattoo Your Wellbeing podcast. Atara Estes is my name. It will always be with Atara Estes. And remember, you have to take care of yourself. You really do. You are responsible for you and your mental health. Do not overlook that for no one at all. No family, no friends, no co-workers, because when you're not taking care of yourself, you're no good for no one else. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I failed miserably and will probably have to hit my hand every now and again when I step back into that familiar. I don't want to continue the familiar way of doing things. I want to be healthy and whole holistically with my well being. And I would love to show you all how to apply that as well. I'm 21 years in the making of trying to excel to that next level in my well being. And I'm doing okay. And for others, they don't know if they're doing okay at all. But I'm here for it. I'm here for you. Now, I see that I may have to definitely learn how to make sure I have all of my equipment together when I am recording on my next upcoming podcast. So instead of me trying to make sure that that is in place, I'm going to sign out and thank you all for joining us because I have to now plug in I have to plug in my computer before I lose out on the show overall. Get all it is, and then all of a sudden, I am about to lose everything that I have been working on. This has been good for my day one of actually. This has been good for my day one. So I look forward to speaking to you all. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for the show, please feel free to email me at Atara, ATARA, booking at gmail.com to send those comments, those suggestions, requests to be on the show for any reason. If you feel that you have a story, a true story that you're ready to share, and I would advise in advance, and I'm going to have this out when I advertise it, when I'm requesting for special guests, that this, I don't want to re-trigger anyone. I don't re-traumatizing someone to share their story is not my aim for doing this podcast. It's for those who are ready and feel that they're strongly able to balance that, because you have to go home and silence your inner man after sharing and rehashing some of the things. So I want to be very mindful of how I share. So if I can't do it where I have that special guest who is healthy enough to do it, I will find another way to highlight and spotlight. Maybe I can just do an article read and suggest that you all go read their input of things that they've done and how they overcome. But I want to showcase us. I want to showcase real warriors, real, real resilient warriors. Not so much of campaigning about how strong you are. I'm fed up with somebody telling me how strong I am, because I'm at a place in my life that I don't want to be strong all the time. Not that I want to be weak, but I want to balance. I want someone to be able to lead and guide in a healthy way. And I'm not talking about just an intimate partner. It's people that you come in contact with, family, friends, and they need to know how to be able to communicate with who you are evolving to be now, and not for who they feel that you once were, and to grow with you and not to rehash and rehinder any of those things that you have overcome. So, nonetheless, that will be to come. I hope you all got something out of this launch of the new show, and I look forward to um, next Thursday, 6 o'clock, on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I hope that I've done something well enough to get you all to like and subscribe and share, and be good to yourselves. Okay, I really mean that. This week, I'm going into this Saturday will be my birthday. So by the time I come back, it won't be my birthday, but I'm celebrating my birthday all month long. So you're welcome to provide gifts of support, um, dinners, lunches. Accepting those too. I'm not passing them up, but nonetheless, I want to have a great, joyous birthday and have a way God finds fit. And overall, I want you all to be blessed in your own right. I want you to be safe. I want you to enjoy your day to day, moment by moment. But most of all, love yourself. So until next time, be blessed.